better as a result of social media presence.
If it doesn't do those three things, then it's on the chopping block.
It's a return on investment discussion.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Daily Dealer Live. It's a Thanksgiving special today. I'm your host, Sam Dark, and welcome to this space where automotive comes together to learn, to share, gobble, gobble. I love that, to execute. Thanks for choosing to be here this day before Thanksgiving, Wednesday, November 26th. Today, we want to hear what you're grateful for in automotive. Post it to the show comments across CDG social media platforms, and we'll bring your comments into today's show. I'll give you my take after the news. But first, let's dive into today's industry headlines. First up today, auto loan approvals are tightening fast, with the New York Fed showing auto loan rejection rates jumping to 15.2% in October. That's more than double what they were just a few months ago. That's a big increase. And younger buyers are getting squeezed the hardest. Gen Z's credit scores are sliding, delinquencies are rising, and nearly half say they're leaning on credit cards or BNPL just to keep up. But of course, lower scores mean fewer financeable customers in the segments that usually drive volume, especially used, entry-level, and first-time buyers. But even with those pressures, auto loans now sit at the top of consumers' payment priorities, ahead of mortgages and far above student loans. It's a signal that people will do almost anything to keep their cars. For dealerships, it means more work to get deals bought, tighter lender partnerships, we believe in that at Ziegler, more payment-focused structures, and inventory that fits what stretched buyers can actually qualify for. Finally, next up today, a new Insurify report shows Americans are warming up fast to AI for insurance shopping. 86% of drivers say they're open to using it, and Gen Z is leading the charge. Nearly half of drivers have already used an AI assistant to shop for car insurance, and the willingness jumps even higher if AI can save them real money, especially $1,000 or more a year. Hey, if somebody can save me $1,000 in car insurance, show me where. The appeal is simple. AI can cut through complexity and isn't influenced by commissions or carrier incentives, which are major reasons consumers distrust traditional insurance pricing. But when it comes to judgment calls, accident, fault, damage assessment, or customer service, people still want humans. Agents hold the credibility edge, especially among female drivers. Bottom line here, AI is becoming a powerful tool for price shopping and squeezing insurer margins, not replacing human agents outright. I'd be curious where the research came that female drivers lean on humans versus, where does that survey come from? But we'll save that for a next segment. All right, finally up today, Dream Motor Group, led by Nick Saban, Roll Tide, and auto executive Joe Agresti, has officially bought Toyota of Montgomery and Lexus of Montgomery in a $151 million deal per Pinnacle M&A. And the move didn't exactly come out of nowhere. Pat McAfee actually let it slip on College Game Day that Saban was about to add Toyota stores to his portfolio. By the way, Nick Saban, we want you on the show, Daily Dealer Live. Come talk to us about your acquisitions, about what it's like to be a legendary football coach owning a collection of incredible stores. The seller, Sutherland Automotive Group, had invested heavily in modernizing both rooftops, upgrading sales and service ops, tightening leadership, improving CSI, and expanding fixed ops capability. Pinnacle's Mike Sims calls the stores, quote, high-performing assets in a key market, and credited Sutherland's team for the operational turnaround that set the dealerships up for long-term success under Dream Motor Group. What's the big picture here? Well, Sutherland says he's proud of what the team's built and hinted this isn't the last move, with more acquisitions already under contract and announcements coming soon. Don't forget, you can see this deal announcement and many more throughout the entire year by visiting the CDG Buy-Sell tracker at cdgbuysell.com. By the way, our little jingle makes me super happy. And with that, that's our wrap on today's industry news. And we'll bring in Yuli. Yuli, you're supposed to start singing these jingles personally. Where was your singing in this?
I was gobbling before when you started. That was me.
Oh, that makes sense. You know, you've got the goatee or you've got the mustache. That's fair. That's fair. Well, as always, Yuli, for those joining the live stream, we're live across all CDG social media platforms. Post your comments. We'll bring them into today's show. We've got a great show coming up today with a few really cool guests. And you, it's a Thanksgiving Day special. What are you grateful for today? We'd love to have you post that into the social media comments. Yuli, what are you grateful for this Thanksgiving holiday?
As always, my family, my friends, my health, and all of you.
That's awesome. That's
How about
awesome. Hey, you know what? I'd say ditto to that. And I would also add to that, what a cool opportunity it is for you and I to come to our Daily Deal Live audience 3 times a week. I love that Automotive has given us this opportunity. You know, in my own experience, I talk about this every now and again. You can go find it in podcasts here and there. I was a kid sleeping on a parts couch in high school who went on to sell cars, had a heck of a lot of fun doing that, breaking records at an Isuzu Kia dealership in Utah. Went to work for a Swiss-based insurance company, got to tour the United States, meet some of the best dealers all across this country. And now as COO of the Ziegler Auto Group, one of the largest privately held auto groups in the country. Like, Automotive is awesome. And, Brian
really
Benstock would be here. He'd say it. Grant Cardone would be here, and they would say it. I'm grateful for this industry and that it continues. And I got to tell you, Yuli, the reason I do this 3 times a week with you, and maybe similar to your reason, is because I want to give back. I want to educate. I want to help people see the opportunity. And if there's one thing from this show and all the shows we do, I hope people walk away fired up about the opportunity and the potential that there is in this business. Vin Sierge says, always be grateful for the car biz. J. Ray F says, grateful for AI. I love it. And Michelle, our own CDG Michelle, joins the gratitude train. Grateful for the team at CDG. And then Vince Sierge says, that's a cool stash. You got a solid stash there. So.
Something else we should be grateful for. Well, grateful
What's that?
to Yossi. They've extended signups for CDG Circles.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right, so let's transition. So CDG Circle signups have been extended by 48 hours till this Friday. Groups are going live next Thursday. So if someone hasn't signed up now, it's your last chance to enter this cohort. We're going to get the definition on cohort shortly for everyone. Otherwise, you have to wait till the next group launches in April. So it is your chance with this 48-hour extension. It's kind of like a Thanksgiving special Black Friday prelude. CDGcircles.com. Go there, join up, be part of it. But
you definitely don't want to miss out.
It's cool to kind of launch into Thanksgiving weekend, talking about what we're grateful for. And, the community that's created as part of Car Dealership Guy is solidly a part of that. So let's dive into our first guest today, CEO, founder of DSM Auto Family. Let's turn to Dave Marks. Dave, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dave.
Oh, thanks for having me. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here. Happy Thanksgiving in advance of tomorrow's holiday. Any big plans for Thanksgiving, by the way? What do you got going on?
My job is to show up and eat and ask for seconds and say it was good.
There you go. You'll have to let us know later what you get to eat, because there's all sorts of fun and exciting things. All right, so how's biz? And as part of that, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a unique guest. You're not an OEM, so tell us or a franchised auto dealer. So tell us who you are, what you do.
I got you. So, I'm like you guys. I'm really grateful for automotive. I got into automotive because I didn't want to go to college. So what do we do when we don't want to go to college? We get into the car business. That's what we do. And, I got a really cool story, and I'll try to make it as short as possible, is got into the repair side, I'm in St. Louis. I went to a tech school at Rankin Tech here. And, I got experience working at a franchise dealer as a tech, worked as a mom and pop. And then I bought a garage with a house in the front yard. That's my claim to fame. Had zero aspirations of having a business. And then just one thing has led to another, and after I got started working on my backyard gig, people started asking me, hey, Dave, do you buy cars? You know anybody that does? You know anybody that sells? And I found out people like buying cars from guys that have service departments that can fix it.
Yeah.
And one thing is led to another. I will say this. I'm a huge advocate for SCORE. It's for the people that are getting started in business, and, reach out to SCORE. It stands for Society Courts of Retired Executives. I was fortunate. I met a guy named Gary Deacon. He owned bus dealerships. He had 3 bus dealerships he had one in St. Louis, one in Arkansas, and one in Tennessee. And he taught me business. Here's how you put together a P&L this is what a balance sheet is, because I was doing both of this out of my backyard, and I had aspirations of opening up a brick and mortar. I got 3 tickets in some years doing this out of my backyard from the local municipality, but I didn't care. I believed in myself and I believed in what I was doing. And we wrote a business plan and opened up a brick and mortar, made that bet on myself, took
Yeah.
that leap, and
It's
it's
all
just
part-
it's been growing and go ahead, Sam.
all part of the scrappy American dream, right? You had a dream, you had a
Yeah.
vision, you put it together, and
Yeah.
maybe you didn't intend to go full board into automotive, but you ended full bore into automotive, which is where you sit today. So I'm curious, as we talk about your operation and some of the things that you do very uniquely, you've made a recent bold move that not a lot of car dealers do, but maybe we could learn from. You hired an in-house VA, you call
Yes.
it, to transform operations. Tell us, what is that VA and how does it work?
So, VA stands for virtual assistant, and we got connected through a friend of mine, and we just really clicked. Her initial hire was to help me with some admin back office stuff that was getting neglected. We all have that I don't have time to do list, or that
Yeah.
neglect list, or
Yeah.
I don't call it a to-do list. What am I going to neglect today list? That's really what it
Yeah.
is, And we got connected through a company, and then we just really clicked. And I'm
Yeah.
also affiliated. I'm going to plug a friend of mine, Adam McChesney. He's got a business called Builders of Authority, where he teaches entrepreneurs personal branding through online social media platforms. And I had her working with his assistant, and everything just fell into place. So we had to pull some shenanigans to work with each other. But her main role is to help me, build my personal brand on social media. That's where it's
Okay.
at today with
Okay.
that. And then she could also help with email blast, text blast, any kind of customer communications that was on that I don't have time to do list that we all
Yeah.
know is important, right?
All right. So you hired a virtual assistant. What does the interaction look like with this virtual assistant? And what are the top 3 tasks that this virtual assistant engages in daily? And what have been the impacts of that?
Yeah. So we meet every Monday via Zoom. She's in the Philippines. So in the Philippines, I'm in St. Louis, so it's 12. It is 2 o'clock in the morning in the Philippines. So they're used to working US hours. They're
Yeah.
very hours. She's with me 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Okay.
So there's a program called Slack that I have.
Mhm.
We do a lot of communications with that.
We do
We have a
Slack, yeah.
shared, we use Slack. We have a shared Google Drive where, I'll record videos and content, and I can upload it there, and she can pull it and edit it. She's posting my cars on the website. She's posting them on social media. And let's see, what else is she doing? Doing blog posting. So she's new to the automotive space. So before she posts a blog on the website or any of our other platforms, I'm reviewing it, making sure that's correct. And just how can I utilize a valuable resource that grows my bottom line? Let's just be
Yeah.
real.
Yeah. Yeah. And what does it cost?
So I'm paying her $1,000 a month. We use a company called Wise to
Okay.
transfer it, and that's how she gets. She's going to get a raise here. I'm going to bump her. She'll be at $1,300 a month, I think, by the end of January.
Yeah.
Because here's kind of what I look at it. If I was going to pay like a VA company to get her through, well, I need to be close to that. Because if I'm willing to pay
Yeah.
that, then why not give it to her? And I think you got to remember, though, this is making an impact in somebody else's lives. We're still
Mhm.
impacting people's lives, still giving them, she genuinely is inspired, enthusiastic to help me grow my brand. When I told her I was going to be on this, she was excited,
Yeah.
and for
So-
me. And so it's,
So to other auto dealers out there, and listen, there's a little bit of a size difference too. Sometimes large groups with multi rooftops, even franchise dealers. Tell us, you're being super intentional about your online brand, and you're using a virtual assistant to help you establish that. Why
Right.
should a dealer principal or someone owning a dealership or collection of dealerships be intentional about their online brand or online reputation? Why is that important today? What brought that into your radar?
because that's where it's at today in today's world. We got a whole generation that's, I'm 46, that's younger than us. If you're not active on TikTok or Instagram, they don't know you exist. They won't use you.
Yeah.
I mean, this replaces the billboard. It just does. And people want to do business with people. Whether it's employees, whether it's vendors, or whether it's customers. So the whole concept out is so that those three demographics, because for me, that's who I really work for. I work for my vendors, my employees, and my customers. I'm employed by three demographics. So it's putting good, raw, authentic content out there that people get to see who the person is behind the business to develop that know, like, and trust. So when they come in, there's that sense of like, I know who this is. I may never met them in person, but I got a good idea, who they are.
Yeah. Yeah. That is important in today's world. Auto dealers in particular have been reticent to do that, to be super forward leaning on social media. You see some exceptions, Brian Benstock, Yuli, you and I think are a difference. Yossi said, hey, he wants to be transparent online. Why do you think so many are concerned about being too much out there? And how did you overcome that?
I think it's, we walk around with, how's this going to make me look? What are other people going to think about me? Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're all going through stuff in our lives. Okay. No one's exempt from that. Right. So, because I've put a ton about on social media about me, my personal life, what I'm going through, what I've been through to get where I'm at, that's what people want to know. People want to know what's behind the business owner, what's behind the business, because it's like, if people can relate to us at a personal level, they're more likely to do business with us. They're more likely to. I've gotten referrals from people that have never used my service before because they saw me on social media and their friend will say it. So I think it's just being more transparent and letting people know who the person is behind the business, and it builds. We're either relationship based or transactional based. We're all relationship based, so it helps establish that relationship.
So before we go to some of the social media comments, because we've got quite a few online, I'm curious. You could have gone to a company. There are multiple companies out there that will help you with your online reputation and will help you post social media and all that stuff. In fact, we've got our own Omar here in house that does an incredible job. He works with our group, Ziegler Auto Group, with social media posts and whatnot.
Nomad.
You went to Nomad. Yep, CDG Nomad. You went to a virtual assistant, someone that probably has less experience. How do you ensure consistent messaging online, and that the way that virtual assistant responds and engages online is consistent with your own approach?
I would call it authentic micromanaging, and you got to set the intention. So my VA, she came on board full-time in November, and I said, our goal for this month is to get our process and procedures down, what we're going to post, when we're going to post, why we're going to post. And it's got to come from a place of, it's got to come from the heart. Nobody wants to be micromanaged, but when you tell people, I think one of the keys to being an employer is you got to tell the people why. This is why. What's the why behind this? Then they're more open to constructive criticism. And I've always said that, hey, this is a collaboration. It's not me telling you what to do. This is a collaboration, and give them some autonomy to make mistakes. And when it's done right and appropriately, people appreciate that feedback.
All right, so a few comments from online. Yoga Cars, who's a consistent poster on this show. We're grateful for Yoga Cars. Thanks for being here daily. There's a company out there called somewhere.com where you can find remote talent. So that's a potential hookup for another VA type assistant. Yoga Cars also, another thing, I think this is Yoga Cars. Question, have you considered making her pay structure, the VA's pay structure, performance-based? And if you did, what would that look like, coming from Christopher Bragg?
Oh, that's a great question. My first thought would be, one, there needs to be like some expectations and boundaries. For me, it would be about engagement, views, likes, that kind of stuff. And we'd have to set a bar. So from off the top of my head, just spitballing here, I'm thinking, okay, let's 90 days after we've been working together, where are we at? Because we do track this, one of the reasons why I went to the VA to help me build an online presence is it's so hard to track. Like Google, we can track penny for penny, but putting content on social media, unless somebody comes into my dealership and they say, hey, Dave, I'm here because of this video, which happens, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know, at least in my experience. So it would be, what kind of metrics would we want to gauge that by? What kind of KPIs would be no different than, average hours per RO or gross per unit, that kind of stuff, and then put together a plan. I mean, I'd be all for that. I've never thought about that, but that's a
Yeah.
great question.
All right, as we get towards the end of our conversation today, David, what's something your team did this year that made you proud, and what could other dealers learn from it as they head into this Thanksgiving weekend?
Oh, what would the team make me proud? I mean, I think it starts with me and the culture that I've built. My master tech, he's the first one there. He starts early. They stay late. Man, that is a great question. And I think it still starts with the culture that I've built. I think when you have the right culture, they'll go above it. What we do is we have each other's back, but nobody's keeping score. That's what I like about the environment and the atmosphere that we've built. That starts with me.
Yeah.
Employees start with the employer.
Very cool. Very cool. I agree with that. Well, Dave Marks, CEO, founder, DSM Auto Family, thanks for being on the show, sharing your perspectives.
Absolutely.
This
Thanks
day
for
before the Day of Gratitude, Thanksgiving. Thanks, Dave Marks.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Dave.
All right.
It's a fun conversation. Yeah.
For sure.
A VA. I actually have thought about that before. I just think it is a challenge. Like, how do you get someone
For sure.
so remote to think like you, to act like you, to respond like you?
Well, it's like anything else. It just takes a lot of time to train, right? So you have to build and cultivate that relationship, set the policies and procedures, and then iron out all the kinks. You should get one. You need one.
But he is. That's right. Hey, you're telling me. He is right, though. Like, you're giving someone a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And they learn automotive. They learn all the other things. And, I think it'd be a pretty cool help. So let's talk Matador AI, though. So today's episode is brought to you by Matador.ai. Matador handles calls, texts, and follow-ups so your team never falls behind. More appointments, less chaos. See the difference for yourself with a free demo at Matador.ai. You can scan the QR code, or you can click the link in the show notes below. Matador AI. We appreciate you supporting today's content, including that conversation about virtual assistants with Dave Marks that we just had. So thanks, Matador, for supporting the show today. We got a recommendation online. You should invite Daltra Capital to the show. I don't know who that is, but we'll take note of that. Sometimes we get we often get great suggestions. Supervisor Dan says, grateful for
this great show.
The great show. Giving thanks to the CDG crew tomorrow. Great work, y'all. Funny how, dog. I like that. That's good. And then as a reminder, NADA, if you haven't registered yet, sign up. Spots are limited, as we've often talked about, but we'd love to see as many as we possibly can here. That was fun to have Yossi on the show last week with the CEOs of the companies that are also co-sponsoring it and just talking about what lies in store. So Vincier says that was super informative. So the conversation there. Let's turn now to a conversation with Aladdin Khazravan, founder of Dealer Cards. Aladdin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm really grateful to be here. Hi,
Thanks for being here. Yeah. By the way, so I don't have a mustache. I don't have a goatee or a beard yet. Both you and Yuli, you're talking me into it here.
No shave November, you know
That's
it.
right. That's right. That's right. So does yours come off December 1, or are you keeping it?
I let my 5-year-old kind of, because I shaved it once and I scared her. She was like, "You're not dad. You're not dad." I was like, "I am dad," but I have to trim it really low for them to accept it, and then we shave it. But probably go ahead and shave it.
Well, Aladdin, tell us, how's biz? And as part of that, tell us a little bit about yourself and the company you founded.
Thank you so much. I've been a dealer for 25, 30 years, and I'm not on the retail side anymore. I still have my fingers in a couple of stores, but currently my business partners and we created a software company around a book that he wrote several years ago called Appreciation Marketing. And the book is around how to achieve greatness through gratitude. And Yeah, it's a really amazing book. It's a lot of common sense, and we've helped thousands and thousands of business owners reach their clients through gratitude and appreciation using our service. And what I've learned after dealing with all these people is the common sense is just not very common these days. And our service allows business owners to use old school methods, which is handwritten notes, and we marry it with high technology to give high impact touches with their clients. And the outcome, the goal would be to let our customers know how much we love them, appreciate them, and care for them, so that they want to give back to us as business people instead of, the car hits the curb and me, you, and everybody else are on to the next deal.
Yeah. So you said gratitude in business is simple, basic, but it's something most people just overlook. I forget the exact words you said. It goes over most people's heads. What is it about gratitude that most people miss? Why is it something that most people don't get in today's world?
Well, I'll share with you. There's a Chinese proverb that I really love. Okay. It says the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. And a lot of us miss that boat, right? But the next best time is now. And
today,
right. And then what are we doing moving forward? And when it comes to gratitude, it's not just polite, it's profitable. And, I was in a seminar once with a billionaire, and he was educating his people, his real estate. And he was educating them, and he asked every single person there, he goes, who's your competition? And everybody ran it off some other real estate company name. And he goes, you're all wrong. It's Amazon. And they're like, Amazon doesn't sell houses. He goes, no, but Amazon sets the bar with experience, right? Like when you want something, it's there. When you have a problem, it's gone. It's a yes, sir, no, sir. And we love that. And because of that, we all give our money to Amazon and companies like that because of the way they make us feel around how we do business with each other. I find that appreciation builds loyalty faster than any discount could. And it just takes, go ahead.
And so what does that appreciation look like, or what does that real gratitude look like in automotive beyond that simple thank you email or the auto-generated templated email that goes out to everybody after they buy a car?
And I'm glad you said that, because everybody has the automated email from the CRM. In my opinion, it's worthless. I mean, just look at your own self and look at me. I read subject lines. I don't even read emails anymore because they're just so diluted. But I'll share with you what we do is we tie our services to the back of the house. We tie it to the DMS. So it eliminates guesswork, manpower, mistakes. And for 25 years, I want my salespeople to call people for their birthdays. I want them to reach out to Yuli and say, you're important to us. How are you? Happy birthday, Merry Christmas. But the reality of it is we're not trained that way. We're not rewarded that way. Nobody's doing it. So what we do is we tie our services to the DMS of the dealership. So when a finance manager marks sold, the very next day, a custom greeting card with the customer's photo at the time of delivery is on the inside of the card, in a handwritten note in the general manager's handwriting with 2 brownies, and they get it 3 days later. And what's powerful about that is they're not expecting anything. This environment has trained them that nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, the sale's over.
Yeah, and then we follow that with 9 other cards for their birthdays, anniversaries, service, reminders, and no marketing. We're just saying we love you, and that's what gets them to want to reciprocate and give loyalty back to the dealers.
Where do you send it in this world of email and texting and phone calls?
I'm glad you asked that. Thank you, Sam. No, we don't do anything electronic. These are physical greeting cards with photos, with your own handwriting, that gets delivered to your mailbox. And, in the mail, when you go check your mailbox, you get junk mail, you get bills. If you're lucky, you get something personal. First thing you open is personal, and you're hoping that there's something personal in it. And we make it personal by doing that for the customer.
Why brownies? That's interesting. That's kind of a cool.
And it's funny you say that, because some states we have dealers that are in some foo-foo states, and we do candles in those states. But but the brownies, why I like the brownies is when you feed someone's bellies, you invoke emotion, and our goal is to invoke emotion out of these people to let them know that we care for them. And even if they don't eat the brownies, they give it to their child and they see their child get light up, and they're really good brownies. And they're not Denver brownies. These are really normal good brownies.
They're not laced. Yeah. They're not laced.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I had your co-founder or one of your business partners on the Industry Spotlight, and Brian Benstock was on with us, and he just talked about, to him, the value of a handwritten card, kind of echoed that. And we even talked on there how salespeople could, at least I think it was Brian Benstock, it was salespeople could actually do this on their own. They don't need to wait for a dealership. You have a path for salespeople that really want to own their clientele, really want to serve that customer base they work with, and they could sign up with you that way as well. Is that still a path that's a possibility?
Absolutely. We don't discriminate. If you want to say thank you, we help you do it. We help over 40,000 business professionals in the United States. And, what we try to teach them is, you get a lead by what you do, but you earn referrals by who you are. And what that means is how you're showing up in their lives after you collected their money.
Yeah.
It's not everybody has white gloves on when they're at the store.
Yeah.
Everyone's on their best behavior, but once they leave, how do we treat Sam? How do we treat Sam's, spouse and children? Because that's by showing up in that positive way. That's how the law of reciprocation, loyalty, all those things kick in.
Yeah.
And I find that marketing brings customers in, but gratitude is what keeps them coming back.
That's cool. Eager K says, I love the idea of brownies. And actually, this is an interesting one. We got a comment from online, says DMS should have a field for favorite food and beverage. But I kind of, I like that idea.
Do a CRM
Aladdin.
note.
I like that idea, Aladdin, but I also sort of like the idea of surprising them with something they're completely not expecting. I mean, I guess it's a little bit of a downer if they don't like chocolate or brownies, but who doesn't? Oh, and then here's, my wife is allergic to chocolate. She might think the dealer's trying to get her. So maybe the idea of a DMS could work there on that way as well. But putting a favorite food in.
Yeah.
But this isn't something the customer expects because you asked. I think if you ask, I'm just thinking this through in my mind. If you asked and you started to make it part of a survey, then they're going to at some point expect something to pop up. This is sort of like an unreasonable hospitality play where it's like, you delight them with a surprise that they just flat out aren't expecting. What percent, if you had to guess, and maybe you have this as a stat, what percent of dealers engage with their customer base in this way by providing that gratitude or that unreasonable hospitality, something that they truly don't expect consistently over a long period of time?
I would say it's between 1% to 2% of dealers. It is a very small number. We all rely on the thought that my salespeople are going to do it, and that's their job. And then we say, oh, this CRM sent an email.
Yeah, the automation, the thank you email. I was thinking 21 years ago when I started in the biz, it was kind of mandatory. They made us write handwritten cards. And the one that always sticks out to me was my general manager at the time said, send a Thanksgiving card, because no one is sending cards for Thanksgiving, right? And it's so true. And the further we got from that, I would imagine the less cards people are receiving. To your point, they're just getting bills.
Yeah. Yeah. And, when we were building this all out and pricing it out, and we price it to make it where it's affordable for anybody. I just looked at my own stores. I was like, look, in my own stores, we spend $700 plus in marketing dollars to get Bubba's attention. It takes our team 3.5 hours to convert him into a paying customer. We earn $3,500, $4,000 a rip. When we recognize revenue on that customer that month, is this person worth putting $40, $50 back into the pot to nurture them until they're ready for another car? Or is it smarter to kick them to the curb and try all over again with a completely different customer?
Yeah. And so some really good comments online here. Vince here says, I heard Jim Moran used to give ice cream cakes to everyone shopping in his store. They'd have to immediately drive home so it wouldn't melt. By the way, that's pretty funny if that's true, because that helps prevent that next car shopping experience. Yeah. They go back home, they think about it, they come back and buy, which, be back bus, it's not as real as you think. But Eager K says, when I started back in the biz in 92, we had to create our own cards as well. And then David Mark says, we send handwritten birthday cards. I used to do Thanksgiving cards because I wanted to be the first one to the mailbox. Thanksgiving isn't tied to a religion. And then Eager K says, when I started in the biz back in 92, we had to create our own cards too. I guess, Yuli, to your point, like these are basic things that we used to do that work, that help deliver that great experience. Why on earth has automotive gotten away from it, Aladdin? Maybe we'll close on that question with you today.
Yeah, in my opinion, we think technology is going to save us, but in all reality, all it's done is taken us further away from the human connection that we actually desire and want. I mean, your opening comments were about insurance and how women said they still want to deal with a human being at the end of the day. And while technology is tools to get the appointment and lead and the text message and all that is great, and we use all of those things even in our own company to deliver these cards to our customers. But at the end of the day, the customer wants to feel valued, they want to feel seen, and they want some kind of gratitude around them spending their time, money, and resources with you compared to the 30 other stores down the street. It's like how we show up in their lives after we've done business really dictates it. I personally believe every single person that sits in a finance department is worth 10 to 12 deals. I'm buying a car every 3 years. My wife buys one every 3 years. My child is of age. It's just where am I buying, not if I'm buying.
Right.
You know what's interesting is you describe this and you talk about that. You think of the customer, which is the end, they're buying a car from us, they're getting their vehicle serviced. But as the CEO of a large company, my customer are our employees, and making sure that they're outrageously happy, that they're engaged, they find purpose in their work. Flip this on its head. How could this be used as a strategy also with your own employees, not just your end user customers?
Yes, sir. Great. Because at the end of the day, our employees are our customers. They're internal, and then they face out. And we've actually had several conversations with some big groups and some small groups. And what we do is they put their employees on the same 2-year, 3-year of gratitude coming from the dealership and some kind of a roadmap for their success. So it eliminates turnover, it builds relationships. And whether you're just saying happy birthday once a year, or you actually have some kind of a design, which we help groups do. I think we help the Jenkins Auto Group build out a complete employee package where they reach out to all their employees. A new hire happens and they get 2-3 years of cards from the owner and a path to their success and a path to management so that they have a future to look forward to. I think doubling down on people is way better than doubling down on any ad, any marketing, anything like that. It's just, let's invest into humans. Let's invest into relationships, because relationships are the real currency in life, right? It's like the people are going to help us rise and fall. And by showing up when we don't have to is actually where the most value is.
Big time.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's interesting at our auto group, at Ziegler Auto Group, we have a tradition called diamond drops, and it's a diamond piece of paper. It has, our mission statement on it. And it's just a blank card that you can handwrite, fill out. And then we have times during the month and during the year where we get together for an employee luncheon, or we do some employee recognition where employees share these diamond drops or these handwritten cards with each other. And then we have a tradition where you post those near your desk and you get to look at them, you get to see them. It's interesting when you first hear about that, you're like, come on, like, does that really work? Is it really meaningful? And I've seen people who are in under-recognized positions across the group in particular, but all positions in general, but, maybe as a title clerk or maybe, remitting service contracts or whatever, and they hear how much gratitude other people have for their position and what they do and how they show up every day. And, I've seen people become very emotional as they read through those. Wow. And it kind of convinces me in the role I'm at that, it is important. And there is I tried to automate it and make it electronic and like, hey, type it out and have it print out, because my handwriting is terrible. I should have been a doctor, honestly. And you can't do that. Like a handwritten note that is intentional and thoughtful really goes a long way. I mean, I know a lot of people that still handwrite birthday cards, and those things, those matter, and the words that you put down there matters. And And what a great reminder you have, Aladdin, for us on this day before Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. And bravo to you and your team for doing that. That's top 1% that go in do that for their own team. You know, I'll share with you, for anybody that's listening and calling, when you are doing these kind of things, let gratitude be about gratitude, and let marketing be marketing, and just don't mix the message. You know, we share with dealers and other people in different industries. When we send out a card around birthday, for example, we kind of tear you away from asking for referrals on the birthday. We, you know, in his book, Appreciation Marketing, Curtis writes, it's like chocolate covered dog crap. Like, don't say happy birthday and give me referrals. Is it about my birthday, or do you want business? Because people feel it. They feel it, whether it's written, they feel it in their heart, and they're like, oh, I see, this was about their business, not about me.
Yeah. I love Michelle, our own CDG Michelle's comment in the comments. Wear gratitude like a cloak, and it will feed every corner of your life, says
Love that.
Rumi.
Beautiful.
And then Dave Rogers says, need an auto pen like POTUS. So, I guess that's what I need. That would fix my handwriting, I think, right? If I had some sort of an auto pen where I could type it in. But being more, to your point, being more intentional without hope of getting something in exchange. And we do create, and listen, you said, hey, props to you guys for doing it. It wasn't my idea. Like, honestly, had somebody come and said, hey, I got a great idea, I would have been like, oh, it's a little too touchy-feely. Like, but I've seen it. It was started, Mike Van Ryn, he's our head of talent development and hiring and recruiting. They did it with a company called Human X over a decade ago. And it's interesting how some things become foundational to your culture. And that tradition of diamond drops has absolutely become a foundation of culture at the Ziegler Auto Group. And people look forward to those moments in ways that, you know, you can't expect. You don't expect. So I was surprised by it. Well, Aladdin, oh my goodness, I just butchered your last name. Aladdin Khazravan.
Yeah,
wait, give it to me, Aladdin. Tell me your last name. Give me the right pronunciation.
Like Caravan.
Khazravan.
Like Caravan.
Love it.
Yeah,
love it. Aladdin Khazravan, founder of Dealer Cards. Thank you so much for coming on the show this day before Thanksgiving and sharing with us the importance of gratitude and how we can serve better our customers and even our own employees by expressing gratitude systemically and regularly throughout the course of the year. So thanks for being on the show, Aladdin.
Thank you so much for having me, Yuli and Sam. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. That's fun. Social media is just a light. Vin Sierra says, people forget how to be compassionate humans. And Howard Gleason says, absolutely love this.
It's so true. I think about, what do you think is more impactful with people of our age bracket or older, or the new generation? I mean, at least we kind of grew up in a time where we were receiving cards and they kind of phased out. But this newer generation entering, you know, the workspace and the marketplace, like, do you think they pause in their tracks even more? I guess a little thought starter.
Yeah. Well, and Yuli, to your point, it's interesting. A comment just posted. I have 2 printers that I work with that specialize in handwritten direct mailers. They're out of here. They're out of there. So, you know, there is value in that handwritten card. I don't know the answer to your question. Which generation appreciates it more? I think, you know, I don't know.
Just thinking about the evolution of everything.
Is it possible this day before Thanksgiving that gratitude never goes out of style? That everybody always appreciates it. Everybody always values it. Yeah. So let's go. We'll go with that one. All right. Last up today on this day before Thanksgiving Day special, Catherine York, Mace manager at Vann York Auto Group. Welcome to the show, Catherine.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Catherine, welcome. We have to ask you our signature question. And as we do, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do. But first, you know, how's biz?
From my seat, business is good. I've been with I'm third generation at our business, Vann York Auto Group in High Point, North Carolina. I'm fourth generation in the industry. I moved back here in March. I previously worked at NADA. So I was living in DC, made the move to North Carolina, been here about 8 or 9 months. I'm doing a rotational program through all the frontline positions in our group. So every day is a little different. Today, I'm a parts advisor. If I'd spoken to you a month ago, I would have been in HR. Before that, I was in the service advisor, and a lot to be grateful for.
That's interesting. I want to pull the gratitude thread because there's so much to talk about there, but let's stay on this for a little longer. So what you're doing is not entirely unique, right? Especially being multiple generations in automotive to wear all the hats. Where do you see the benefit? And, maybe how long's the timeline with, what you're going through to bring you up front or to get you operational?
Yeah, it's definitely not unique because we built the program after talking to some other groups about what they've done with generations coming back, but also as a training program for their general managers or leadership in general, which is our plan for this long term. I'm the guinea pig, but we'd like to create a program where anyone that's in a leadership position has exposure to every department in the dealership. So we're looking at 18 months, 2 years total, about halfway through. So I'm finishing up the fixed side of the business, and I'll start the new year in variable. But the main thing is to be in every single frontline position because and I've already experienced it. The best way to get to know our team, it's the best way to get to know our customers, and it's been the best way to get to know our processes. And so along the way, I've been able to maybe find little places where balls are getting dropped and make quick fixes. But mostly I'm doing a lot of listening and learning. And there's definitely a lot to learn.
Catherine, I just have to ask. You said you were in HR and now you're in parts. HR or parts? Which job do you prefer? Which one proved most interesting, entertaining, and developmental to you?
Yeah, this is the question I get asked every single day because I move from store to store. I move from department to department. Everyone asks me who my favorite child is, and I can't say obviously, but I will say both departments present very unique challenges.
For sure.
And I am a people person. I'm not a car person, and so parts has definitely been the hardest thing I've done because I'm learning a lot about vehicles. Service, I learned a lot about people, which I love, and HR also a lot about people. Parts, it's a lot about cars.
Wait, that's interesting. Why people in service and why cars in parts?
Because and this is kind of the way that we're trying to train our service departments. It's about the human interaction you have with the customer. It's about talking to them about our process says, and this normally does happen, when you go talk to a customer, the first thing you talk to them about should not be their vehicle. It should be something, if you see a bumper sticker, you ask them how their day is going, connection. And you make the personal connection, and then you go to their vehicle. And so, and I can talk to people. I was in a communications role beforehand, so this is something I know how to do, but I cannot fix a car. And I don't know if you ever looked at a parts map of finding where the parts go to a vehicle. That is new to me. So definitely a lot to learn there.
So you said this is an 18-month process, right, for you?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, and you're predominantly right now, you've only been on the fixed side.
Yeah, so that was intentional. So my dad, Greg York, is our CEO and president right now. And we have a COO, Brian Lawler, who's been with our group for a long time. And they both came up through the variable side. So we were intentional about making sure I spent a lot of time in fixed to get that perspective. So
is there anything that you're noticing, and not to put you on the spot, but being that you get to change your cap a little more frequently than the rest of us do, is there anything that you're noticing that can give you an edge from one department to the other, or something that, one hat helped you solve once you moved on to the next piece?
Yes and no. I'm coming from corporate communications. That's kind of what I think about a lot. And we have different processes that are in different phases of implementation. So kind of the way I've seen that these processes get put through is you have to identify, an issue that needs a process. If it's adding a technology to help support a system, or making sure that we're getting more human-to-human interaction, getting management buy-in, getting employee buy-in, and then getting customer buy-in, which honestly can be just as difficult as the first two steps. And so seeing different ways we're doing that across the departments has been very interesting, and how things get communicated differently to different departments. And then there's that's kind of big picture. Small picture, every day I'm able to maybe catch something that someone hasn't thought should be raised. I'll give you a very mundane example, but working in the service lane, I noticed the women's bathroom wasn't getting cleaned, and I brought it up to my dad at family dinner, and I was like, "Who's in charge of this?" And he said, "That's me. I'll take care of it."
Now, you say you keep coming back to communication. So going through these departments again, what are the biggest breakdowns that you've seen between employees or between the store and the customers?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've done, I think a lot of groups are doing a big push for technician videos in the service lane. We've been pretty successful with that. Our group as a whole is over 70% and of ROs having a video attached, but our first 2 stores that started are both over 90% now. So now that we're getting the videos to the customer, we got to make sure the customer's watching the video, or what's the point? And that is kind of a hurdle that until I'd been in these roles, I would not have thought would be an issue, because I want to be communicated to. I liked, when I was a service customer and living in DC, I always watched the videos. I always want to know more information. I like that transparency, but some people don't know to open it, don't know what it is. It's new to them. So now we've got to focus on, we've got our team doing the right thing. Now we've got to educate the customer. And so a big thing of what that looks like is just when they come to check in, letting them know, asking them their cell phone number. Okay, this is a number we're going to send a video to. Expect that in the next 30 to 45 minutes. Open it. You're going to see your technician with your vehicle. Have you ever seen underneath your vehicle? No, you're about to. And so just letting them know what the steps are really does go a long way.
I think it's such a powerful tool, and to have a couple locations over 90% is definitely the right metrics. That's certainly something to be grateful for. 365 days a year, but definitely the day before Thanksgiving. So you had said that you guys do some kind of special things as well around the holidays, right? What are some things that you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. So gearing up towards the winter holidays, another part of my rotational program is, I'm not a VA, but I am an in-person kind of assistant to my dad and to our COO. When special projects come up, I get to do that as a side gig to everything else going on in fixed ops. And one of that is our holiday efforts. So both in the community and employees, talking about employee recognition and gratitude. We have a tradition here that my grandparents started when they founded our company in 1971, and they were low on funds, wanted to do something to recognize their 30 employees at the time, and got wholesale fruit and made fruit baskets by hand. Since then, we have grown that. Our company has grown. We're at around 350 employees now. We still make the baskets by hand. It was my first job in the dealership. I remember being 8, 9 years old. Service lane on a Sunday, line up all the baskets, fill them up with fruit. We've added hams and cookies now. The idea is that they have a ready-to-go holiday meal. And so awesome. Sometimes we've transitioned from physical hams to gift cards to, now they can have a turkey, or if they're a vegetarian, we make adjustments as the times have moved through. But the idea still is that it's the family making the baskets for the employees.
That's very cool. Did you like making the baskets more now or when you were 8?
Definitely when I was 8. I have 2 brothers, and we would get on the dollies, the service dollies, and skate through the service drive. And it's a very fond experience, memories for me.
That's great. Speaking of fond experiences and memories, do you have a favorite memory or a favorite experience over the years during the holiday season that's come from this?
From the baskets, definitely having to do with my grandparents. My grandfather, who he's Van York, the company is no longer with us, but my grandparents used to hand them out themselves. And my grandfather had biggest smile I've ever seen, and it got just bigger and bigger every time he handed one to another employee. And so definitely one of the big benefits of being part of a family business, just being able to maintain those relationships with our employees. Yeah.
Catherine, several great comments online in support of your message and what you're saying here. So one comment, CEO and janitor, speaking of your dad and the comment about the women's restroom. I know the feeling.
Himself, but
right? So Christopher said that. And then Eager K says, I would roll up my sleeves and do it myself, clean that bathroom, make sure my employees see me do it. It shows that even though I'm a dealer principal and I'm still down to earth, I'm a real person. And I would also probably think that if you do it once, everybody else would help make sure that it never, ever, ever happens again. And then Eager K gives you props for your time spent in fixed ops and your work there. I just have a question, as you go through the different departments in the stores, is there one area where you only get to see things from a fresh set of eyes once? Once you've spent a month or two in parts, then you see it a certain way. You can see opportunity right at the very beginning. And if you take action on it, it makes the organization better. Are there one or two things as you've toured around the different departments that you've really latched onto that you're like, hey, this would make a big difference if automotive did different, or if a particular department did different? Is there one outlier that everyone might learn from your experience going department to department?
Interesting. So that is very true. And every time I'm in a department, I have a notebook. I've kind of become a little notorious for it. I just carry a notebook around. I'm always taking notes.
I like that. Yeah.
The first week, I have this long list of things I think I can fix. And then the second week, I start crossing things off because I see the reason why they're done. And that keeps going. And so by the end, I end up having like one good idea from that department because, and that's something that I've gotten a lot of advice on coming into these departments is I'm not there to turn tables. They are doing really great the way they are. I do leave. I know most times I'm asked while I'm leaving the department if I have feedback. And a lot of it, it's a broken record for me, is communication. I think phones is a big part of my life that I never would have thought it would be, 5 or 10 years ago. I am of the generation that answered phones, but I'm right on the edge. And so I spend a lot of my time now on the phone and finding ways to make sure we're answering the phone and that customers are not getting transferred around the dealership or being put on hold. And so that we've got a great phone system that's helped with a lot of that, but it's still a work in progress.
So as our last question here, and then we wrap, we appreciate you being on the show. CDK recently released a survey talking about buyer attitudes in the service department. That was one of the things they highlighted is just the length of time it takes to get a phone picked up in the service department. And that's something you see with a fresh set of eyes, not having been there before. It's ludicrous. It makes no sense. And training is part of that. Using some AI tools to help with the heavy lift is another part. How are you decreasing that amount of time to the phone pickup or reducing the amount of transfers, having noted that?
Yeah, we have and I can take no credit for this. This was already in the works before I got here. It's one of those things I raised, and they said, we're working on that, actually. Our IT director implemented a phone system called OneCloud that we're still rolling out. But it's been we can pull abandoned call reports every week, and we do. And that's reviewed by department. We are still tweaking the way that the phones, where they ring. So like, for example, service rings the service advisors first, then the manager, then the BDC, and it will, and then back to the service lane. So if the lane's flooded, then it'll get to a person. We're also testing an AI voice, but early stages for that. I think that in our market, people want to talk to a person.
What product are you testing on the voice side?
It's also part of OneCloud.
Okay, same thing.
It's all together.
Very cool. Well, Catherine York Mace, on this day before Thanksgiving, we appreciate you coming on, manager at Vann York Auto Group, as you tour across the organization and learn about more about automotive. We appreciate you sharing your perspectives with us. Thank you, Catherine.
Thanks so much for having me.
A lot of good comments out there. DNC9440 says Aladdin would be proud to hear about the gift baskets. I think that's true. That's that's a personal touch. Just a lot of really cool comments and engagement today. So Howard Gleason from earlier says, love this. Eager K says, my franchised automotive group is giving out turkeys for Thanksgiving. We usually spend over $1.5 million on turkeys to do good for the communities where the stores are in, which I think
that's a lot of turkeys. That's a lot of turkeys.
But that's a cool tradition and a great way to give back, especially for people that maybe don't have as much. Lauren Klein, gobble gobble.
Gobble,
wait,
gobble.
that was your. Wait, where's our? There you go.
There it is.
Thank you.
Hold on.
There you go. So fun show, and I love the conversation on cards and handwriting and doing recognition
Back to basics
based on handwriting. So.
To
our Daily Dealer Live audience, thanks for watching Daily Dealer Live. Yuli, cool Thanksgiving episode where we break down the biggest moves in the car business as they happen. Don't forget, we're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So if this is your world, hit like, hit subscribe, turn on those notifications so you never, ever, ever miss a beat. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody. Enjoy
Happy
the day
Thanksgiving,
tomorrow
guys.
and crush it this weekend as we wrap out the month of November Automotive. We'll see everybody next episode. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, guys.